Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone, good morning sir. Thanks for the time that I have given to we. We are from group 8. In this action we will deliver our presentation right now, so attention please. Okay everyone, in this action we will deliver our presentation about analyzing the social culture of values of the novel. Okay, in this action, we have the title novel is Memoirs of a Geisha. Okay, everyone, the first slide is socio-cultural. Socio-cultural theory stresses the role that social interaction plays in psychological development. It suggests that human learning is largely a social process, and that our cognitive functions are formed based on our interaction with those around us who are more skilled. Sociocultural theory focuses on how mentors and peers influence individual learning, but also on how cultural belief and attitude affect how learning takes place. Next slide is setting. Setting in Kyoto, Japan in the 1930 and 40. Okay, next slide is synopsis of the novel. Chio, age 9, lives in Yoroido, an impoverished fishing village on Japan's coast. When wars come to worst for her family, she is sent to Denita Okia, while her older sister Satsu is transferred elsewhere. And Okia is a house or sort of a compound where a geisha lives. At Denita Okia, Chio meets another girl about her egg nicknamed Pumpkin. Together, Pumpkin and Chio strangely touch the daily life of beings treated as nothing more than slaves to the resident geisha. Hatsumomo the stories a violent who tries her hardest to make Chio's life as miserably as possible. On one particular occasion, Curse injury depressed Chio collapses on a bridge in chance, and a high society passerby stops to talk to and try to comfort her. This is the first time lightly Chio meets the chairman. He shows her kinds in a world which has been nothing but cruel to her. From that point on, Chio determines to break free from the social class she was born into and become a geisha worthy of the chairman. After much work and hardship, Chio is allowed to attend the school where young girls are taught all the important practices associated with the life of a geisha. She learned how to conduct the tea ceremony, how to play the shamisen, or an instrument like a mini banjo or mini acoustic guitar, and possibly that must impart how to dance. The Japanese word geisha word. Geisha is the rebirth from a turned revering to earth. So a geisha is like an artisan or artist. After more alterations with Hatsumomo, Chio is taken under the wing of one of Gion's most popular geisha, Memeha, Hatsumomo's arch rival as a geisha. Okay everyone, next slide I refer to my partner. Okay, next slide is Memeha take us a long time to introduce Chion now renamed Sayuri as her apprentice, but once he does, she is already blessed with fame for being associated with someone of Memeha's class. Memeha introduced Sayuri as many numerous future in Gion life, and it come to a point where men are fighting for the highest bid on Sayuri's marriage. All this time, Sayuri is struggling with the common life lesson of any girl growing up into a woman. It is very much a coming of age story. Towards all her trials of adversity, Sayuri's main goal is always to see the chairman again. Finally, the day comes when she is invited along with Memeha to a party at which the chairman is attending. For the next couple of weeks, she attends multiple parties which the chairman attends. All the while seemingly coming closer to achieving her goal. Ancients has been growing censoring word where two and Geon society starts to feel the effect of war. Rations are set up and many parts of the Geisha district are closing. Geisha are fleeing to other parts of the country hoping to avoid getting challenged in an attack. Sayuri and all of her friends are separated until after the war. And once everyone returns to Gion, it is realized the effect of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All geisha who fled to those cities fiercely died, and the community greatly feels the loss. Sayuri desperately attempts to attain the chairman loves. In the end, they live happily and until old age. Until finally the chairman first left, Sayuri will sleep in the arms of the geisha. Okay, next slide is them. Deception. Sayuri live is one of deception. That irony is that she takes on the profession of a geisha, which relies on deception as geisha Sayuri an identity other than her true one. She launched at jokes that are not funny, and she learned to make a certain kind of blank face that men can believe means whatever here they like. Her success depends on her ability to appear not as herself but as whomever her clients want her to be. Next is beauty. Beauty as Sayuri slowly enters the world of the geisha. She becomes more and more aware of the rule of beauty in her society. She realizes the importance of beauty immediately upon arriving in Gion. When she sees Hatsumomo at the Okia, her beauty labels Sayuri as speechless, having never seen anything like her. Sayuri Levy's description of the patterns and colors in kimono attests to her appreciation of beauty. Next, metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, golden, symbolizes here a metamorphosis for the lowly fishermen. Daughter to a glamorous geisha with the changing of her name from Chiyo to Sayuri. Among the most basic elements of a person's identity is her name. And to become a geisha, Chiyo must become Sayuri. Okay, everyone, next slide. I refer to my partner. This next slide is plot. In 1929, an impoverished 9-year-old named Chio from a fishing village is sold to a geisha house in Kyoto's Gion district and subjected to cruel treatment from the owners and the head geisha Hatsumomo, who is vindictively jealous of this new young girl's stunning beauty. Hatsumomo bitter rival Memeha rescues Chio and mentors her as she becomes Sayuri, a geisha fully trained in all the artistic and social skill a geisha must master in order to survive in her society. As a renowned geisha, she enters a society of wealth, privilege, and political intrigue. As world where two lumps, Japan's and the geisha world are forever changed by the onslaught of history. Next slide is point of view. Memoirs of a Geisha is a historical fiction novel by American author Arthur Golden published in 1997. The novel, told in first-person perspective, tells the story of Nita Sayuri and the many trials she faced on the path to become and working as a geisha in Kyoto, Japan before, during, and afterward to where to.
So next is message. So in this story, you can find that Sayuri has self-determination. Throughout the novel, the protagonist Sayuri Nita describes herself as a river, a metaphor that captures the dueling forces of destiny and self-determination in her life. At times, Sayuri is like a river guided by external forces, unable to control the direction her life takes. Characteristic. For characteristic here, I won't tell you all about them one by one, but I will tell you the characters who often play the role in the story. So first is Iwamura-ken. Sayuri meets the chairman years before she becomes a geisha, and his elegance and kindness inspire her to be a great geisha. She wants to be the kind of woman who spends time in the presence of such men. For years, she dreams about him and fantasizes about impressing him with her beauty and charm. When she meets him again years later, she finds that he is the lead of Iwamura Electric, a prominent company. She is delighted that he is still the kind man she remembers. Second is Sakamoto Chiyo or Nita Sayuri. Her unusual gray eyes distinguish her from other girls, and this feature plays a significant role in her success later as a geisha. She is clever, energetic, and imaginative. In childhood, her imagination shows her innocent as she dreams up fantasies about being adopted by Tanaka. As a woman, however, her imagination shows her maturity, as she is able to maneuver the complicated social and interpersonal workings of being a geisha. Sayuri is adept at learning to socialize with men and manipulate them, although she does not use her skill for her own selfish pride. She learns to recognize good character, and she values friendship. Third is Dr. Crab. Dr. Crab is physician in the Gion district. He is called Dr. Crab for the way he hunches his shoulders and sticks out his elbows. He is methodical in his practice, and he has a particular interest in winning novice geishas, mizuage, or virginity. This arrangement is made with a geisha okiya when both parties agree upon a sum of money. Mameha uses Dr. Crab's reputation as a mizuage specialist to drive up the price of Sayuri mizuage to a record fee. Fourth is Hatsumomo. When Sayuri arrives at the okiya, Hatsumomo is the only working geisha in the house. Her great success brings in all the money for the house to function and support her profession. She is devastatingly beautiful but equally cruel. She can put on a charming disposition while entertaining, but in reality, she is scheming, manipulative, and cold. Next is Mameha. Mameha is one of the most successful geishas in Japan. She agrees to take Sayuri as her little sister. Mameha is not as beautiful as Hatsumomo, but she is kinder and wiser. She is very clever and knowledgeable about the social politics of Gion. She also makes more money than Hatsumomo because she has a dana. Mameha and Hatsumomo are rivals, so Mameha is happy to help Sayuri become more successful than Hatsumomo and her reign of terror. Next is Toshikazu Nobu. Nobu is the chairman, business partner, and friend. As president of Iwamura Electric, he proves himself a perspective and loyal businessman. Nobu's face and body have terrible burn scars from a bomb explosion during a military maneuver. His headaches also cost him his arm. For this reason, many people are afraid to get close to him, and his harsh demeanor does not make him any easier to approach. Those who know him well, however, find that he is a man of great character and loyalty, who has very human feelings hidden beneath his gruff exterior. He and Sayuri become friends, and he shows unusual affection in his treatment of her. Her ultimate rejection of him is deeply hurtful. Next is Pumpkin. Sayuri gives the other girl her age at the okiya the nickname Pumpkin, and it stays with her even into her geisha years. Pumpkin began working at the okiya as a servant until she is ready to begin geisha school. She is sweet-natured, but not particularly intelligent. She has difficulty mastering the skills taught at geisha schools, and Hatsumomo has no trouble terminating her when she becomes her apprentice. Pumpkin and Sayuri are friends until their apprenticeships with rival geisha force them to compete with each other. The backlash of their rivalry generates bitterness in Pumpkin, who sabotages Sayuri's plans to eliminate Nobu. Pumpkin seeks revenge because Mother makes Sayuri the okiya's adopted daughter after the position is promised to her. Next is Sakamoto Satsu. Satsu is Sayuri's sister. Although she is 6 years old than Sayuri, 15 at the time she leaves home, she is brokered to a brothel to work as a lowly prostitute because of her plain features and chubby physique. Satsu is a hard and conscientious worker who lacks the imagination of her younger sister. Later, in Kyoto, she cannot bear to live as prostitute and plans to escape, taking Sayuri with her. Sayuri does not make it to their meeting place, but Satsu manages to escape successfully. She returns to Yoroido and runs away with Tanaka's assistant son.
Next, socio-cultural point found in the novel Memoirs of Geisha. 1. 1930 After great difficulty, Japan is the first country to recover from the depression that affected so many nations worldwide. Economic growth is especially evident in manufacturing, which brings prosperity and modernity to Japan after many years of struggle. Today, Japan's economy is one of the strongest in the world. rivaled only by the United States in gross national product. Japan is a major exporter in the international market. Particularly, strong export industries are automobiles, electronics, and computers. Japan imports are primarily raw materials such as lumber, oil, and food items. Because Japan is such a, technological giant, it is not surprising that agriculture only makes up about 2% of the GNP to 1930. Even into the early 20th century, there are numerous geisha in various districts in Japan. Today, according to Jane Chandon in her book, A Half Step Behind Japan's Women Today, in 1991, there were fewer than 17,000 geisha in all of Japan, down from 80,000 before World War II. Today, the young women of Japan are more interested in modern careers than in carrying on old traditions that supply delineate gender difference as dramatically as the geisha tradition does. Because of this, the number of geisha in Japan continues to decline, and the future of geisha is uncertain. 3. 1930, the Japanese government is characterized by a heavy military presence. With it comes censorship, propaganda, and persecution of communists. Military personnel come to occupy most of the highest offices in government, including that of Prime Minister. Today, Japan's government is bicameral, having two legislative houses, and its parliamentary signs its new constitution in 1947. Japan has transferred power from the emperor to the people, who now elect political leaders. For geisha life in house owned by, however, purchased them and paid for their education. The geisha education is in playing music, performing tea, ceremonies, conversation, etiquette, local dialect, and serving food and beverage. The house staff is responsible for managing a geisha schedules, booking her appearances at parties, performance at the house, and even and private gatherings. Today, the geisha is a dying vestige of a past society. The numbers of geisha have rapidly dwindled, and their inability to interest today girls in such a profession mean the future is dim. Young Japan's women today tend to be more interested in emerging opportunities than in carrying on the tradition of the past. 5. A kimono geisha. Kimono are elegant and insanely expensive. A housewife is much more utilitarian. 6. Part of geisha tradition is to separate them for prostitutes. This is one of the distinguished characteristics between a geisha and a prostitute in the way they dress. 7. Geisha seems to be eternal mistresses, but it makes sense in the context of being a geisha. Geisha never marry or are less those who longer continue as a geisha. 8. Geisha tell that music is an art of conversation. 9. A geisha is neither a prostitute nor a wife. A geisha sells her skill, not her body. The word geisha means artist. A geisha is a moving art in this floating world. 10. After becoming a geisha, usually that person is given a new name and has a bond with the geisha who guides her. 11. Having a hidden partner without being paid or having a separate relationship with another person is considered lowering her ranks as a geisha. 12. There is a tradition called message. Message is ceremony held for geisha who are about to have sex the first time with the client, but the one client that can take geisha virginity must compete with other men by paying the high price. Supporting characters. A supporting character is a character in a narrative that is not focused on the main storyline, but is important to the plot, protagonist, and a part or is mentioned in the story enough to be more than a minor character or cameo appearance. Sometimes supporting characters may develop their own complex backstory, but this is usually tied to the main character, not completely independent, namely Synopsis, where he is a businessman who is not interested in haste but can be melted by Sayuri antagonist. The antagonist character in this story is played by Hatsumomo, where Hatsumomo always harms Chiyo by provoking every incident and making it seem as if Chiyo is at fault in every problem that Hatsumomo causes. Protagonists. The protagonists in this story are played by Chiyo and the chairman, where they both have positive characters and do not create conflict in the story. Rounded, Chiyo thinking independently and generally holding on to her determination to become a geisha even though the obstacles she faces are very difficult, she is able to bring the reader into the story. Unrounded, Hatsumomo is a woman with the talent of a famous geisha, but she becomes a stranger because of her strangeration and her strong character and doesn't want anyone to replace her as a famous geisha. After see the object, after reading this novel, the reading can know that geisha are highly respected and have a happy life at the time. The story takes place or in 25. This is reinforced by the character Chiyo, who is consistent with her determination to become a geisha with the reason that her life is happy. Thank you.